Good morning, Facebook family, friends, and more importantly, the citizens of Mount Vernon, New York. Welcome back to The Truth and Not the Lies Being Told by Mayor Richard Thomas, segment number 2. As I stated in my first segment, I don't have a prompter, so therefore I'm going to read from my notes so that I am confident that I've covered just about everything I have to convey to you all. My main purpose is to draw attention to facts on the wrongdoings going on in the city of Mount Vernon. More specifically, the mayor's office and the actions of Mayor Thomas. I make these videos with a heavy heart. One of my fellow retirees has stage 4 cancer. This is a man who had an awesome portfolio prior to retirement, and towards the end of his career, he was diagnosed with cancer. I advised Mayor Thomas of this retiree's condition, and Mayor Thomas stated that he would look into some sort of supplemental health care for this officer. That was a little over 2 months ago, and as of today's date, I have not heard back from the mayor. Again, Mayor Thomas likes to talk out of his ass and expect people to believe everything he says. It's sad that it has come down to this, especially when you have a mayor who says he's all about public safety and he's not willing to help one of those officers who helped make the Mount Vernon Police Department what it is today. In segment number 1, I stated how I was going to reveal the truth about Mayor Thomas. Now I'm going to explain how a simple settlement of approximately a little over $500,000 has the potential to cost the taxpayers of Mount Vernon a little over $5 million. In early February or March of 2015, I met with former Mayor Ernie Davis. I informed him of the breach of contract on behalf of the city, and he said to me he'd look into it. Several times I met with former Mayor Davis, and he said he'd look into it again. Several times I met with former Mayor Ernie Davis, and our meetings ended up with no resolution to the breach of contract by the city. Mayor Thomas was advised of this breach of contract as he was a city councilman. Shortly after the primaries, on October 16th of 2015, I met with, at that point, Councilman Wallace. He had won the primaries and we were going into the general election. During that meeting, Mayor, at that time, Councilman Wallace stated, we should initiate a suit against the city of Mount Vernon and therefore would bring more negativity towards former Mayor Davis's campaign to be re-elected in November of 2015. He stated to me during that meeting, if he is elected mayor, referring to Mayor Thomas, he would honor the contract between the city of Mount Vernon and the Mount Vernon Police Benevolent Association. In January of this year, I attempted to meet with Mayor Thomas. Unknowns to me, it was a swearing-in ceremony on the date that I came down to Mount Vernon. In his office, there was Roberta James and Kim Knotts. I informed Kim Knotts that I needed to speak to the mayor, and when she contacted him, his secretary, who was present with him, wanted to know the reason why. I conveyed to Kim Knotts that it was in regards to the contract issue between the city and the Mount Vernon Police Benevolence Association. Kim said that she would call me back. At that time, I had to run errands in New Rochelle, and I stated to her that once I concluded my errands, the ceremony should be over. On my way back from New Rochelle, Kim Knotts called me on my cell phone she stated that the mayor says he can't meet with you for 5 minutes and that he won't be able to meet with me until March of this year. Well, this was January. Prior to that, he had my number and he would blow my phone up. But now he had no time for me. So that really pissed me the fuck off. I was not willing to take his response of meeting with me in March, and I started making posts on Facebook. On March 19th, Mayor Thomas made a defamatory statement about my character, one which I took to heart, and at that point I responded back to his derogatory statement. You will see a copy of the excerpt from Facebook post, which will be attached below this video. I then went on the offensive and stepped into his ass. At approximately 1:20 a.m. on March 20th, Mayor Thomas called me. Now, it was a Sunday morning. I had a busy day. I wasn't answering a phone call at that time of the day. At 1:20 in the morning, the only person that should be being called would be for a booty call, and I don't roll that way. Later on that morning, he and I had a conversation whereby he stated that we should sit down and meet. On Monday, which was March 21st, I responded to the mayor's conference room. In attendance was Corporation Counsel Picari, City Contract Attorney Terry O'Neill, Mayor Thomas, Sean Patterson, Maria Donovan, Brent Gamble, the president of the Mount Vernon Police Association, and myself. Now, unknowns to me, this was the start of a deceitful tactic deployed by Mayor Thomas, a stall tactic deployed by Mayor Thomas and his crew. In his matter of deceit, he brought in Acting Police Commissioner Ronald Fatigate, Deputy Police Commissioner Joseph Spezio. I will show you documents on how the retired members were threatened and how the active members of the Mount Vernon PBA, unknown to them, were threatened. The plot thickens, people. Stay tuned for segment number 3 of The Truth and Not the Lies Being Told by Mayor Richard Thomas. It's going to be very interesting, so stay tuned. Feel free to share my videos, my posts, so that the word gets out there. We have love for Mount Vernon, and Mount Vernon is being brought down. So stay tuned for segment number 3. Thank you.